So, have you ever been watching a tennis match and just felt totally lost? You hear the umpire say things like love, deuce, advantage. It's like they're speaking a completely different language. Well, today we are cracking that code. Whether you want to step onto the court yourself or just sound like you know what you're talking about during the next big tournament, this is your quick start guide to the amazing game of tennis.
I love this quote because it absolutely nails it. See, tennis isn't just about whacking a ball back and forth. It's got the mental strategy of chess, always thinking a few shots ahead. It has the raw power and split-second reflexes of boxing, and it all happens at an incredible speed. It is a full-body, full-mind workout, and we're going to break it all down for you.
All right, first things first. Before we can even talk about the rules or scoring, we need to get our bearings. We need to understand the space where it all happens. This is the tennis court, your arena. Let's break down the main zones. You've got the baseline at the very back, and the net, of course, that splits the whole thing in half. Now, the key thing to know is that the court actually changes size depending on the game. If it's a one-on-one match or singles, you use the inner sidelines. But if you're playing with a partner in doubles, the court gets wider, and you use those outer alleys. And see those two little boxes up near the net? Those are your targets for the serve, which we'll get to in just a minute. When you strip everything else away, this is the heart of tennis. Every shot, every sprint, every decision has one single purpose: to put that ball in a place where your opponent just can't legally get it back over the net and into the court. It sounds so simple, but trust me, pulling it off is a real art form. So how does a point actually end? Well, it's basically over when someone makes one of these mistakes. You lose the point if you hit the ball straight into the net or if you hit it outside the lines. You also lose if you let the ball bounce 2 times on your side before you hit it, or, if you just swing and miss completely. Avoid these 4 things and you're well on your way. All right, let's dive into the part of tennis that gives it a reputation for being a little weird. The scoring system seems totally random at first, but once you hear the history behind it, it actually starts to make a little bit of sense. This is the first hurdle for every single new tennis fan. You hear the umpire say 15 love, and you're thinking, what is going on? But yeah, on a tennis court, getting love means you've got 0. Nothing. Zilch. So the most popular theory for this bizarre word actually takes us to France. The French word for egg is l'œuf. And, well, an egg kind of looks like a 0, right? So the story goes that the term just got anglicized over time into love. So when you hear 15 love, it's just a fancy way of saying the score is 1-0. And that, of course, is the second question everyone asks. Why on earth isn't it just 1, 2, 3? Well, just like the whole love thing, the answer might just take us on another trip back in time. This one's pretty cool. One theory suggests that early players in France used a giant clock face to keep score. So after the first point, they'd move the hand to 15. The second point, they'd move it to 30. The third point would land on 45, but apparently saying 45 was kind of a mouthful, so over the years it just got shortened to 40 to make it easier to say. Now, this is where a tennis match can get really intense. If both players get to 3 points each, the score is 40-40. We call that deuce. And from this point on, you can't win the game with just 1 point. The pressure is on, because you have to win by a 2-point margin to finally close out the game. So let's walk through it. The score is deuce. If the person serving wins the next point, the score becomes advantage in. If they win 1 more point, they win the game. But if the receiver wins that advantage point, the score resets right back to deuce. It's a clean slate. This can go back and forth until one player finally manages to string 2 points together in a row. Okay, so we know how to win a point, and we know how those points add up to win a game. Now let's zoom out and look at the big picture, how you go from winning games to winning sets, and finally to winning the entire match. A good way to think about it is like building a pyramid. The individual points you win are the base. You stack enough of those points together, you win a game. Then you stack the games on top of each other to win a set, and finally, the first player to stack up enough sets claims the victory for the whole match. So here's the basic formula. You need to win at least 4 points to take a game. Then you need to be the first person to win 6 games, and you have to win by 2, and that gets you a set. In most matches, the first player to win 2 sets wins the whole thing. And yep, just like with deuce in a game, that win by 2 rule is crucial for sets as well. You can't win a set with a score of 6-5. You have to keep playing until one person gets a 2-game lead.
So the final score will be something like 6-4 or maybe 7-5.
But what if things are so close that those players get to 6 games each? Do they just play on forever until someone cracks? Nope. To decide the winner of that set, they play a special high-pressure showdown called a tiebreak.
And the good news? The scoring in a tiebreak finally makes perfect sense. We drop the 15, 30, 40 stuff and just count points normally. 1, 2, 3, and so on. It becomes a sprint to 7 points. And of course, that win by 2 rule still applies. A tiebreak can end 7-5, but if the score hits 6-all, you keep playing until somebody gets that 2-point lead.
Okay, you get the court, you've cracked the scoring code. Now for the fun part. Let's cover the absolute must-knows for actually starting a point and playing the game. Let's talk about the serve, because it is the most important shot in tennis. It starts every single point. So you stand behind the baseline, toss the ball up, and hit it diagonally into your opponent's service box. Now here's the deal. You get 2 chances. If you miss the first one, that's called a fault. No biggie, you get a second try. But if you miss the second serve, that's a double fault, and your opponent wins the point automatically without even touching the ball. The serving rotation is actually pretty simple. In singles, it's a constant back and forth. You serve for a whole game, then your opponent serves for the next game, and you just alternate like that. In doubles, all 4 players get in on the action in a set rotation. Each player serves 1 game, so the whole cycle just repeats every 4 games. All right, to wrap up, here are a few final essential rules. First, and this is a big one, the lines are in. If a ball clips just a tiny piece of the line, it's a good shot. Second, the ball can only bounce 1 time on your side of the court. Third, you cannot, under any circumstances, touch the net with your body or your racket while the point is being played. And finally, if the ball hits your body before it bounces, you lose the point. So, we've gone through the how of tennis, the court, the rules, that crazy scoring system. But now let's talk about the why. Why should you pick up a racket, or even just tune into the next match? Well, as it turns out, this is so much more than just a game. I mean, just look at this number. It's an absolutely incredible statistic. A major long-term study looked at a whole range of different sports, and tennis came out right on top, finding that it could add nearly a full decade to your life. It's just this perfect mix of physical, mental, and social activity. And you know, maybe the best thing about tennis is just how easy it is to get started. You don't have to get a whole team together. All you really need is 1 friend, a decent racket, and a can of tennis balls. A lot of public parks have courts that are totally free to use, just waiting there for you. So, there you have it. You know the basics of the court, you understand the scoring, and you know the key rules. You know it's fun, it's strategic, and it's incredibly good for you. The only question left is, are you ready to get out there and play?